Alrighty then, mic check, mic check. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let's get into it right here tonight. Get things rolling. We've got some Max Adverse Excursion. We're going to talk about things like how to use it, how not to use it. We're going to show you guys how we use it inside of our instruments, how we optimize for it, and of course, maximizing your entry. And of course, if you haven't done so already, make sure you follow us over there on Facebook, Twitter, and of course, here on YouTube. If you guys are not familiar with Performance Report here, this is Performance Report, and you guys are going to be kicking these out on your own stuff. Most of you guys, if you're doing Performance Report, you're just going to have this section, maybe not the section up top here with the bow methodology. Won't get into that here tonight, but let's dig into the stats here, right? A lot of times you just look over across here and everybody's like, let's look over here at the percentage, the percent profitable. Everybody likes to look right here and they think this is the golden egg, right? It's not, okay? There are other factors that you need to take into account when you're looking at these things. And one of these today is a very obscure item that is, in my opinion, one of the most valuable in my career. I come to find out this is the beast. You guys can read it now. MAE. If you hear this, okay, this is what you're going to actually be looking for. So when you're like, I don't see where Max Adverse Excursion is. This is what you're looking for. Okay, let me see if this works. Beep. Oh yeah, look at these nice arrows we got. All right, so MAE, Max Adverse Excursion. So where is that? You're going to come right down here, and we're looking right here. This is the spot, MAE. A lot of people kind of don't really get down to this section in their performance report, but here's where we're going to focus in tonight. A very neat little area, what this is. So first, let me explain what this is, and then we'll come back and look at the numbers, because then it's going to make a little more sense. Okay, and we want to find out what exactly is Max Adverse Excursion. Let's say that we were going to take a short right here. Let's say we got some signals, and we're entering in here for a short. Okay, we've got all of our signals. Again, I'm not going to get into the details of our strategies here tonight, but in this area, we decide we're taking a short as we get maybe we got some dot interpretations. Maybe this showed a cipher shark area. This is usually like a shark leg into this zone, and we've got our entry here, and we end up tagging in on all of our entries. Our average entry price is right here on this one. Okay, so average entry price being right here, and we are targeting short. Now, our target is down here initially. Okay, stop, again, hard stop originally is here. Where is our mental stop on this? Mental stop should be just here, somewhere around a dot. Hopefully you guys know the drill. I'm not going to get into the details again of the strategies here tonight, but let's just, hypothetically, let's do these nice little. And again, the Max Adverse Excursion really has to do with maximizing your entries, and I'm going to show you guys how to use the MAE itself and interpret it for you to maximize your entry price, and just even get a little bit better, right? If you know, well, you'll get it here in a second. I'm just going to show you what it is first. All right, here we go. So we're entering in at this location. We've got a target down this area. So we know this position starts working in our area. First, you're like, woohoo, we got this, right? Everybody knows the feeling. You're elated. You're like, oh, cool. Then the price starts to move back up this way. You get a little nervous. You're like, oh, shoot, it's coming back to my point of entry, but you're not really, really nervous, right? This comes up, we're right about here, and you're like, oh, man, shoot, is this thing gonna rocket? Is this thing gonna skyrocket? This is where you starting to question your trade, right? You're like, oh, man, is it gonna, I don't know, I got my mental stop like right here, and then, okay, you get the move in your direction, you start to be real happy, pow, you end up hitting your target. Let's say it's right here. Now again, this is a simple example because we're not doing multiple targets here on this example. So hold with me. We'll get to the more complex stuff with multiple targets and things right now. But just keeping it simple, I think you guys get where this is, right? So we've got We didn't have to move our stop or anything, but this thing hits, boom, and at this point our bracket disappears, right? This is the whole bracket itself, entry here. So bracket entry. So what is the MAE? All I'm going to do is show you in this example what that MAE is. So we've been drawing in blue here for these. So let's show what that would be. So if your entry price is here, okay, the tip top right here, this is how much heat, right? We'll talk about this as your heat, okay? MAE equals heat, okay? So when somebody says, hey, so how much heat did you take on that trade? That means how far against you did it go before it went in your direction, right? Because some people are like, oh yeah, you know, I got 100 ticks today. Like, yeah, but how much heat did you take on that, right? If you took 300 ticks of heat to make 100, you might be questioning yourself, right? But in this case, in a scenario like this, we ended up getting this nice little double tap move. This thing faked up to the highs, and we broke down low, and we end up hitting our targets down here. And this, should draw a little arrow here, right? Target filled, check, and we hit our winner. So what is the MAE? This is the amount of heat that you took from here, from right here to right here. Okay, in this case, this was a very small MAE. Okay, the max adverse excursion is measured in dollars on your performance chart. Now I'm going to get back to this here in a minute, but I want to show you in dollars. You need to, in my opinion, you need to convert that to ticks. So one of your first things that you need to learn how to do as you're looking at your MAE values, okay, translate the MAE value to ticks. All right, and I know shorthanding it there. Okay, translate it to ticks, and we'll talk about what this is. Just keep this in your notes for now. Okay, but when you get that MAE, this is what I want you to do. Take that MAE, translate it to ticks, because it really doesn't matter what that dollar value is. And I'm going to show you guys when you look at your stats how this is also going to be obscured. I'm going to show you how to use it, how not to use it, because it can be misinterpreted, right? You could see, let's say easy number here. Let's say that you got an MAE of $100. You go down there and you look and it's $100. Okay. Well, $100. Okay. So you're like, okay, so that's 10 ticks of heat. But you're like, wait a minute, this was only like 5 ticks. Okay. Let's say this was a 5 ticks of heat. But the MAE, you're like, say, Vinny, well, the MAE says $100. How did that happen? I'm trading crude oil. It's $10 a tick. So that should tell me it's 10 ticks. Well, not in this case. So what we do, that means that you have a 2 contract trade right here. So what we need to know on that information is the MAE that you get here is based on contract count. Now, I actually think this is a slight ding. Again, I'm not going to talk negatively about NinjaTrader, but this is one of those things that's just, hey, you need to know this, okay? This doesn't take into account the proper contract count, in my humble opinion, because as groupings happen, some of your target or some of your entries get filled at 1 contract, 2 contracts, 3 contracts, 4 contracts, but this is an amalgamation of those, so it's hard to determine what this actual MAE value is unless you are using a single contract. Okay, so why do I say use 1 contract when you're optimizing, backtesting, etc.? I'm going to show you that here in a minute when you start to look at this MAE value, but just follow the example there. If we're talking about a scenario where you have $100 on crude oil, okay, oops, that's terrible. Okay, so that means you would think that that was 10 ticks. Is it? You have to divide by contract. Okay, so in a scenario like this is 5 ticks. This ends up, so you can now determine that this trade ended up being a 2 contract trade. So this one right here was 2 contracts. Okay, I know this is coming into a mess, but I hope you followed through as we drew this in, that this was 2 contracts down to the area, but the 5 ticks of heat. So for me, while the max adverse excursion total that you're going to look at is going to say $100, you need to divide that up by the contract count so that you know how many ticks of heat, because everything that we do here is about ticks. Okay, we are measuring ticks against you, ticks for you. We're collecting those ticks to put it home. Okay, Everybody following that, right? If you get it, type me a 1 over there in the chat box. If you're a little confused still, or you need further explanation, type a 2. And if you did, those of you guys who are the 2s, maybe ask additional questions, and we'll make sure we fill those out. I think I've kind of thoroughly explained this here, so we can move into the next section. I'll give you another example, and then we'll look at the actual MAEs of this value, so we can interpret it and show you how and why it's ideal to, when you're running the optimizations on the robotics system, that you want to interpret the MAE and make sure that you're running a strategy that is single contract when you're optimizing, and yet you can still play it in live market conditions with your multi-variable, multi-contract entry system like we have, for instance, in the Lunchbot, right? If you're using Lunchbot, that is a multi-contract adjustable system that adapts as the market progresses with it, right? It's got that dual robot scenario in it where it's going, okay, what's coming in on the market? I'm adjusting where we are based on the contract count, the win rate, and where the current market is coming into live conditions, even though we've got our optimization that we want to know what that MAE was as we came out. Zoom in, champ. Are you selling CL? So yes, in this, it's a good question. So he's asking, are we selling CL? In this scenario, yes, because it's $10 per tick, okay? If it was in Q, then in Q, we know it's $10, right? So let's figure that out. It's a good question. So in Q. So if this was in Q and it said $100 as your MAE, then how many contracts was this? If we know for sure that it was 5 ticks, then we know that in the case of an NQ, this would then be a 4 contract trade, right? These guys get that? It'll make a little more sense here in just a minute, but I just want to make sure you understand this right here. That's it. This is measuring the MAE. Okay, great question. Thanks for asking it, Anthony. So here's what I want to show you next. Okay, just one more quick example, and this one we're going to go through quick. Okay, so, okay, this one is our deal. Okay, we take the same thing this time. Okay, we took a yellow entry right here. Okay, we're trying to get short. All right, we had our blitzer stop back here. Okay, we're trying to target down here. Do like say a 25-25, kind of one of our standards. Okay, so we're hitting here. We know that we ended up on this trade. Okay, we ended out the trade and we got 25 ticks. We had 25 tick stop. Now this type of scenario, okay, I want you to understand, follow with me, okay? Let's see if you guys can keep up. Tell me where the MAE value is as this comes up. Here we go, okay? So trade starts moving in your direction. Woohoo, okay? And all of a sudden, uh-oh, we're coming back up this way. Yikes, okay? So this ends up being the peak, and then boom, we go all the way down to your target. Oops, forgot how these arrows work. Other way around. They draw the different way. I draw them the other way. So it's like drawing. How many of you guys draw the 5 with the 2 moves? You go and then a thing. Me, I've always been a all one swoop thing, right? Same thing. All right, other direction. So this is a little bit different, right? Position starts to move this way. Hit the target. Target's filled. Yay. Okay. Hit your target. Didn't get to your stop. So look, that's one piece of information. You're like, okay, so you got a win rate. This is all just percentage. You're like, okay, so I'm at 100% today. Okay. But I'm going to ask you a question like, but what was your MAE? All right, so the MAE, remember here, let's see if we got another color here. All right, so we got orange. Okay. See if we can do this. Maybe this will work. How about this? Maybe nice and straight. It's terrible. Okay, there it is. Okay, this was your heat. Okay. Heat. How much heat did we take? That's the MAE, right? Heat. So, how many ticks was this? Well, if I told you earlier that this was a 25 tick stop, then what is our MAE value here? In ticks. Now, again, I want you guys to start asking yourself these questions in MAE, all right? In ticks. Don't care about the dollar value. Okay, so if I ask you, don't give me dollars. between the entry line and the red line. Well, we already know what that is, right? So that's our hard stop is 25. So it's not to the red line, it's actually to the tip. Yes, it's under 25 ticks. Exactly, Andre. Yes, MAE is the furthest trade extension in the wrong direction. Bingo. It's a great way to explain it, sir. Yes. So the value of the MAE is this little bracket right here. Okay. This is your heat box. All right. This was the flames. This was the agent of death. This was the sweat marks that you left and the poo stains in your seat while you're crapping yourself because you thought, oh shoot, it's gonna hit my stop. Oh, it's gonna hit my stop. How much heat did you take on this? So in this case, this is like 23, 24 ticks. Let's call it 23 for interpretation's sake on this one, shall we? Okay. In this example, I think everybody's catching this now, right? So the heat was 23 ticks. Now, in the dollar value though, depends on how many contracts we got in, right? What if we did 20 contracts? This is a 20 contract trade on the ES. Okay? The ES is $12.50. So you have to do $12.50 times the contract count times 23. You guys follow me on that? Yes, under 25 else should be stopped out. Bingo. So the MAE value that we're going to be using here is how much this trade went against you. Okay, now we're going to use this over and over again, right? So let's say we'll just move on quick here. So let's say that we took another entry. As this thing starts to come up, we took another entry right here. Okay, in red being our stop up here, but we care about our MAE. Okay, so my heat that I took here, there's my MAE, right? You guys catching this? Let's say we got in right here. Here's my MAE. All right, we got in right here. Here's my MAE. All right, let's say for some reason we took a short right here. And let's say this thing actually went to stop. Here's a trick question. What is the MAE value if you lost the trade? On a loser, it is always the value of your stop, right? Pretty easy. Okay, but it does get interpreted into those dollar values. Again, one of those things that I like to filter out in my process. What I do on the back end of my systems, I actually calculate the MAE of the winners only. Think about that for a second. Why would I do that? Ask yourself that question in your mind. Okay, why would I only care about the MAE of my winners? Okay. Yes, because the MAE equals the stop loss, I don't really care. I don't want that in. It's like a bad value when you're taking an average of a bunch of numbers. Okay, so it's like in math. Let's do a little math thing over here. So we got a 10, we got an 8, we got a 7, we got a 4, we got a 3, and we got two 25s in here. Okay. This. I don't want these, okay? I don't want to include these, right? Because this is going to throw my average way off. What I want to know is, what is the average of my winners? Now, the reason I'm saying this is important, is because I'm going to tell you another little limitation that you need to know. I hate to say limitation because, Ninja Trader, I'm not disparaging you if you're listening. So, average. It's just know that this is inside your MAE value, okay? Because if I'm going to play what I'm going to show you guys, when I'm trying to figure out what that max adverse excursion is, I care about the winners to adjust because I just want to get a win, right? So I want to know what is the average heat on my winners so that I get my expectation in my mind. So if all this, like if my max one that I ever saw was 10 ticks against me of any of my winners, would I really want to hold past 15? Right? 15 ticks. If it gets to 15 ticks of heat, I might want to close that out, right? And I know that if the thing goes to 11 ticks, okay, so let's say this is, I'm just to say a mental game, how I'm going to use MAE to interpret this, okay? So if I end up getting an 11 tick, this thing, I'm in a live trade, okay? And I'm looking and I see my heat comes back on me 11, maybe 12 ticks, because it'd be a little easier. Let's just go, like it went 2 ticks past what I know is my max, okay? I know what my max is for my history of all my trades, I know that the max for my series when I win is 10. Well, then when I get to 12, I know this is about to be a losing trade, right? So I can do one of two things. I can either reverse my trade, go the opposite direction up to 25. You guys follow me on that, I hope. Okay, that's the advanced level, but then let's back it down. So as I move to a 12, what am I going to do? I move to a 12. If this pushes down to a 7, boom, close out the trade, right? This is by definition my momentum exit strategy, right? Those of you guys who are in the middle 40 days in your training, okay? I am doing the momentum exit. Okay, this is your main objective to learn and execute for 40 days in your middle 40 days. And remember, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about in the mid 40 days, those of you guys who are new to this, I'll do a quick deal here. So we have 120 days for our training, broken up into 3 sections of 40. Okay, so your first 40 days, what are we doing? Video training right here. Okay, we pick out your 2 or 3 that you want to master to start during this 40-day period. This is the main one I'm talking about. Momentum exit strategy. I teach you how to lose. Okay, you need to learn how to lose. Well. Okay, I teach you strategies, and then I force you. I force feed you. I'm like the drill sergeant, and I make you lose, and I make you lose well. Yes, Andre, he's right. MAE on the winners helps set to correct the targets. That's why you care. That's why you care about it. 2 things. You can add inside of your MAE, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Or we can adjust for it like I'm just showing right here. I'm kind of showing how I adjust on this. Okay, but a momentum exit is as the position works in your direction, you already know what your max adverse is, and you reach the height of it, you go beyond the max, all of a sudden, boom, you should instantly know in your mind this is going to be a losing trade. Okay, so you got to do one of 2 things. You want to get a better exit than 12, where you currently are. Like if this thing moves a couple ticks in your way, you can decide as this starts to move your direction. Do I get out at 10? Do I get out at 8? Do I get out at 7? If you get to this area, close it. But what you don't ever want to do is what? I teach you guys this all the time. Do not ever try to hold this trade down to your entry, right? Write this down. If you have not already, if you don't understand this, in our system, do not ever hold the trade back to the point of entry. Oh, shoot. And I hit escape too many times. All right, you guys get that? Okay, good. Any questions on that? Pop them in. So we'll go to the next set here. Okay. So we talked about we know what the MAE is. Okay. Now what to do with it? So when your price is coming up and we're taking some trades, we're taking some reversal trades here. In this case, these are the examples we're using right now. Okay, so hang with. No, we don't always do reversal trades. In fact, most of ours are not. I'm just using this as examples for what we're doing here. So try to hold off for a minute. Okay, let's say for whatever reason there was a little, nub right here, and you had a reason to try to get short. Maybe a dot shows up plus a harmonic. All right, this thing breaks through, but you end up getting short right here. Okay. You in your head, you already know your numbers. Let's use the example that we did before. We know that our max was 10. These are the stats inside your MAE you need to know. Okay, what was your max inside of your max adverse excursion? I know that's a little bit crazy to understand. Okay, and then you need to know your average. And let's say that our average over the winners, okay, was 6. Okay, so we know that on an average, most of the time, my trade moves against me 6 ticks. So as this trade starts to come up, oops, wrong way. Okay, we start coming up this way, going. I know that my average, I should expect 6 ticks of heat. All right, my stop's up here. Okay, my heat that I should expect is about 6 ticks. Okay, but I know that I can go up to 10. All right, so this thing starts to get hot, 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 hot. Oh. Flaming. So at this moment, right? It was at this moment he knew he effed up. You need to know at this moment, you're like, as it starts to turn, of course, any moment, right? I know you can see this, and I know it's in hindsight, yada, yada, but just pretend, right? You get it. Like if you couldn't see the right side of the chart and you get to this spot right here, you should be thinking about these two numbers. These are the two numbers from your MAE that you should always have in your head. What's my max? What's my average? Now again, this is for the stats people. This is for the geeks. This is for the nerds. This is for the... So MAE value, the two things you need to have in your mind as you're trading. You need to know what your max is, what your average of winners is. Again, you'll learn this in our training program, but these are the two little numbers. Again, we're kind of giving out some of the free deets here for you guys tonight. So if you're here hanging out with us, good stuff. All right, eat it up. So these two values, as it starts to creep up. Now, what do I say if this was up to 12? I got to start thinking about it, right? Or reverse it. This is how I trade. I'm constantly thinking about these numbers. I know. Now again, this is per trade too, okay? So there's trade types. Now this doesn't, what does this not apply to, right? Things like J-hook, right? Where are my J-hook players? Right, doesn't work. Not really say it doesn't work, but you can't, like J-hook is bigger, right? You should expect more out of the J-hook, and this is why I tell people that, like, as a new person, don't start with the J-hook, okay? I'm gonna start you into some other trade things. I'm going to teach you the HMD. I'm going to teach you the double dot strategy. I'm going to teach you multi-harmonic. I'm going to teach you very specific entry points. Two-finger salute. Can't go wrong with that one, okay? 2 ways, 3 ways to trade the two-finger salute, and, you know, very mechanical, extremely to the point, and always can be easily, statistically, these stats can matter, okay? So J-hook, though, a little exception, and you need to take a lot of practice before you start applying this there. But with those two things in mind, you make decisions like, if I get past 10, like, dude, this thing's gone 12 ticks of heat against me, close out the trade, right? Start thinking about taking a loss on this, okay? I'm not going to always just sit here and show you guys the winners. In fact, you know, we get trolled. In fact, I feel bad because Atachino got trolled hard the other day. He actually posted his losers, folks. Our users in our room will actually post winners and losers. We don't just post our winners into our you know, they are going to be losers. So in this kind of scenario, just close it out. But you don't want to do. Now this one, yes, ends up working out to be a winning trade on a scenario like this one, okay? But let's say it doesn't matter. Like if it goes 12 ticks on this deal, knowing the stats that we just talked about, let's say it's 13. This looks like it goes about 13 ticks against you, all right? You need to start thinking about taking a loss. But what I do is I teach you how to take a 6-tick loss. Oops. Been typing this whole time, may as well do it here, right? All right, so we want to take a 6-tick loss. This is the momentum exit right here. You see it come to 13, you instantly go, nope, I'm taking a loser. This is what you should be thinking. I'm going to take a good loser. So how do you take a good loser? A good loser is something that's in that wheelhouse of 6 to 10. Remember why? Because if you get your average, awesome. If you get your max, that's okay. Still in the area of winners. What you don't want to do is start taking losers outside of this when you know your MAE. Knowing the numbers. So here's how you know the numbers. Let's get down here, and again, so to make this, here's how you interpret this. So to make this 18,000 on 1, 2, 3, basically our 8, I think it should be 8. I think I added an extra one. 1, 2. I think there's 9. RTY, ES, and QMCL. Oh, 6J, 6E. Yeah. So before we had, we also had FDAX there for a while, just to, because some people asked for FDAX. But so to get these numbers, again, we don't really care about this. So many people, I'm telling you, folks, please stop putting so much emphasis on the percent profitable. Okay, like R matters. Profit factor would be a better thing, but you got to understand how profit factor works. And this factor that I'm talking about right down here is a big deal to actually put money in your wallet. Okay, I'm going to show you another way that you can use this MAE. Okay, so the MAE value here, see how it says minus $71.66. Now, the other problem and the trick with this MAE value is you need to do this per instrument. So please be careful as you're doing this. Okay, I'm going to show you why. Okay. So $71.66. Remember, this is an average value. This is the average. And remember, here's the problem with NinjaTrader. They do, I don't want to say it's a problem. It's just the way that they interpret it. Okay, anybody who's going to go and tell NinjaTrader he's talking mean about you. All right, winners and losers are included in this. What you want to do is you want to filter. the losers and you want to get a value of this. So I want you to, in our code, we're looking to get the MAE of the winners only. Does everybody follow that? Okay. So this is actually probably wrong. Unless this was 100%, let's go to the tricky stuff, okay? If this was 100% profitable and it was 71 and it was, you know, crude, then we know it was exactly 7 ticks, right? If this is in queue, one contract, then we know this is 14, okay, at 100%. But when you know that there were losers in here, I don't want that. That means this is the wrong number. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand, right? There's a different average here, and you need to figure out what that number is, okay? So inside our code for some of our basically monsters, the dual robot systems, these are doing this internally, okay? So already interpreting that. Now, how do you get this number? All right, let's talk about it. So per instrument, remember, I'm clicking up here on combined results, okay? So be careful here with combined results. What I want to do is I want to look at ES, for instance, right? ES is our number one. These are in order by profitability. So ES, still, again, folks, please trade ES. I mean, if you're new, trade ES, please. Like, when I hear people like trading NQ and things, I'm like, listen, you're not ready for that yet. Okay. Oh shoot, I can't switch this here. Let me. I'll have to go here. Okay, I want you to go here. I'm clicking ES, and now I'm going to take another screenshot. Here we go, 149 now for ES. Okay, so 149. Gonna come down here. 149 for ES. Now we've got some better things now. Now I know, what are the things I know? I know this is $12.50 per tick, right? So now I start to interpret that. So this is about 12 ticks, right? 144, it would be 12, so a little more. So let's give it a little, we'll just call it 13 ticks, okay? 13 tick MAE. Now, based on your strategy, you also need to know where that stop was, and I'm not going to get into all that right now because that adapts and it changes, and you know, large, small. I'm not really going to focus in on that right now, but I just want you guys to understand it. It gets more complicated as you are trying to calculate this, and I'm going to show you how to calculate it. If you're trying to do this by hand, again, if you guys don't want to, you know, get AlgoBox, you don't want to use our stuff, that's fine. You can do this by hand on your own. Okay. So we know this is approximately 13 ticks. Everybody follow that? Like, type a 1 if you get this. You need to know why I got this number. If you don't, we're lost here. Okay. So type me a 1 if you understand that right now where we are, this is 13 ticks, and you know how I got there. Okay. So we're at 13 ticks on this MAE. But remember, this includes the losers. Was this 100%? No. So there are tricky ways that you can calculate this. So Roger, little loss on that. So basically this is 140. I'm just rounding here. So let's do this. 144, and I'm just rounding again. I'm not doing the 12.5. Actually, let's do real numbers here. Okay, forget it. We're gonna find out exactly what it is. 149.25 divided by $12.50 per tick. 11.94. All right, so 11.94 is official. So we'll go back to my first estimated interpretation, which was 12 ticks. Okay, now do you understand? Okay, because remember, it's $12.50 per tick. So therefore, if I want to know the number of ticks, that's how we calculate it. Everybody got it now? Type me a 1, type me a 2. Roger, did you get that one now too? Everybody got it now, right? Yeah, 11.49. Oh, did I say 9.4? Yeah, 9.4. So, 12 ticks. Now everybody's there, right? So, we know that this is approximately 12. We're going to round because obviously there's no point, whatever. And it says, I'm a bit lost as to why is MAE number positive? Isn't it always a negative number? Is it because it shows the lowest number by absolute value? Actually, I mean, you're right, Atticino. But look right here. It is negative. See how it's in red? Unless you're red-green colorblind. No offense to those who are. You know, some of our best buddies in here are red-green colorblind. But if it's in red, you know, it could have parentheses around it. In fact, I think the other version, I think in 8, I think they did. I think they started putting parentheses. Yes, it is a negative value. Okay. So yes, it is a negative value, minus 149.25. But it really doesn't matter. We are just trying to figure out how many ticks of heat are we taking, right? So yes, and then we're going to take the absolute number, take the absolute value of that number to figure out the number of ticks. Okay, I'm going to show you guys one other way to use this. Now that we really get it, we're using a real world example. Yeah, there's no minus. It's not a minus sign. It's red though. So yeah, should explain that. Again, people really don't study these performance reports enough. Get very familiar with the performance reports, folks. You can do a lot with it. I'm going to show you again. We're going to rush up here because we're coming right up on an hour here. Here's what's up. Okay, let's draw this. So one more time, how can I use this to take better entries in a scenario like this with our MAE? How do we use that MAE? Let's say that we know that it's 12 ticks. Okay, we saw the MAE, but now let's just say I gave you the formula and you know that the actual MAE of the winners is, we'll say, we're gonna say 10. Okay, you only had a few losers, and for demonstration purposes, yeah. Okay. MAE here is going to equal 10 for the winners. I should say 10 ticks, but you get it. 10 ticks. So I'm taking an entry. Let's say that I'm taking a short entry off of this high. We're curving over, and I'm taking a short. Okay, I got a target down here. Okay, now let's say that my signal fires right here. Okay, signal fires right here. Let's say we got a red dot. Okay, maybe it's like one of these. Check, check. Okay, boom, red dot. Okay, you're taking a short. Here's your target. You know the drill. Thing starts moving your direction, right? Then all of a sudden, uh-oh, getting wrecked, right? Your stop's up here on this winner trade. Okay, but all of a sudden you get some heat. Okay, well, you can do a couple things. If you are a, let's do hypothetical here, that you're a 5 contract trader. Okay, we're gonna use this example. So first, right here, I'm gonna machine gun entry, 2 contracts for my first. Okay, now this could go straight to my target. Okay, fine. I really want to build this position. I'm hoping that I can get 2. Let's say that I take my first set there. I'm expecting it to come back to me, and I'd still take, I'm gonna add 1 right here as it starts to go. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Now I'm on 2, now I'm at 3. Okay, so I'm at 3 contracts as I get in at this area, but then the thing starts to move against me. Now I know that my MAE is 10 ticks. Okay, now I don't want to necessarily wait all the way to the 10th tick, but I've got it in my head that when it gets to about 8 ticks, and of course I've been typing this whole time, why not? I've got it in my head that at 8 ticks, okay, I want to add another contract, and I get my last 2 at my MAE. Think about that for a second. Okay, if I got 5 contracts, and 2 of these, what I call, are maximized. So 2 contracts maximized. 5 contracts traders, 2 contracts maximized. Why maximized? I'm gonna show you why. I just got an additional 8 ticks. Okay, while my original trade, let's say that I'm targeting 15 ticks. Let's say original target. Okay, so from here to here, let's do bracket and some square action. Okay, 15 ticks. This is my original. What did I just add to my trade? From here, to up here. All right, you guys follow what we're about to do here? I think you did. Oops. I'm not gonna be able to draw it though. Try this again. Now we've got all of this on top of that. Here we go. All right, got the wrong key here. Now we got the full key. Okay, 2 contracts maximized, same targets, bam. Less heat too on this. So this does 2 things. When you do this, first of all, you have reduced your overall heat that you're gonna take. All right, what is my value from here to here now? All right, so now my risk is only maybe 5-6 ticks. All right, took a little heat, added into the position, and I've maximized my winner. You guys follow that? So now we've got our 15 plus our 8 ticks, right? So now in the maximized, I'm gonna go yellow here. Plus 8 ticks. All right. Now, you have to multiply that again, depending on what you're trading, right? ES, it's $12.50 times 15 times 2 times 8 times, well, 3. Then add the other 8 times 2, right? I'm not going to, type this all out because it's kind of a pain with this drawing tool. Look, let's just start getting real crazy, right? Because we're going to wind it out right here. We're going to get to the, maybe you have to play this back later. I'm going to go fast now, okay? First entry point. This one, take it as a sim, okay? Sim it, okay? Sim entry number 1, okay? This is how a dual robot system works. So live, we're entering in, where? Right here? Okay, this is another way to interpret and use MAE, right? And go all 5 contracts right here, all in a maximized state, right? This is another way to maximize. Remember, everything that we're doing here is trying to maximize your entry, okay? MAE is max adverse excursion, but it's also maximize your entry. Are you guys getting me? Use the MAE to maximize your max entry. Oh, yeah. Everybody following what we got here? Any other examples that you guys can think of, right, before we go here? All right, but this right here is worth a cup of Joe, if you ask me. Night. I'll catch you here tomorrow. Stay tuned for me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis G, and the rest of the gang. I'm sitting out WH Town. See ya.
Watch out! Watch out! It's Connor.